Hello all, and thank you for joining me again on YouTube. If you're new to my channel, I'm Erin Moffat, a single widowed mother of two fearfully and wonderfully made girls. I began this YouTube channel to start bringing information and education to people about the amazing and important things I have been learning since I joined a gold and silver business called 7K Metals about a year and a half ago. Learning the truth about money has led me to many other truths, and I soon learned I was living very irresponsibly and my family was very vulnerable to many types of attacks. And so I'm going to talk about those types of attacks a little bit, but basically about being aware and awareness so that we can avoid being irresponsible and being attacked. Today, as we walk around and listen to people talk, or as we get on social media, we hear a lot of people talk about being woke. Being awake can mean a great many different things to people. Just to generally describe it here, however, awake means to become enlightened to truth. Whatever the truth is that that person is searching for at the time, they're becoming enlightened to it. That means they're waking up. Becoming truth-filled is without a doubt a very positive thing, and it brings more awareness to one's life. Without truth, we are very vulnerable to bad situations, decisions, and people. As we become awakened to truth, we must realize that there are going to be some problematic behaviors and thinking that can occur, and it's best to prepare yourself so as not to fall back into the traps of unawareness. It's okay to backslide a little, but be prepared and you won't do so nearly as much, and I'm telling you from experience. One common trap will occur when people begin to learn significant truths and find themselves feeling superior to those who are asleep. Now, one can very easily begin to look down upon others who disagree, and they feel that they're smarter, better, more aware than the sleepers around them. And I'm talking from experience. It's not cool to do this, but it's something that can happen. There may even be this belief that these people are stupid, controlled, brainwashed, and I won't disagree with you that they are probably a little brainwashed and possibly controlled, because if you watched my last YouTube video, you'll know that that's what I was talking about. I put this particular picture up because I wanted to point out that these are hardly the most 100 woke women, but this is an instance of that controlled, brainwashed concern that we have with mainstream media and other outlets like that. And yeah. So these aren't, we hear everybody saying the word woke, but we do know that there are a lot of people that aren't, and it's easy to think, oh, I know more than you do, and you probably do. But we have to try to remember when we were getting woken up and we took the red pill, and I know that a lot of people helped me. They were very kind. They were very willing to give me information that I would have needed. And so I have to try to remember to do the same thing. But when we're talking about being awake and aware, I'm really talking about me. I have to catch myself. I can be rude. I can be belligerent to people. And we just need to be careful with that, because that is a backslide into being unaware again. When we behave as if we are better than other people, it can lead us back into those bad situations, dangerous situations, and talking to the wrong people. And obviously, we are losing a lot of peace in that kind of situation. So what other kinds of situations can occur when we are unaware? Well, some can be as simple as isolating people because we're rude or belligerent to them. Yes, I have been very guilty of that. Or just because our beliefs are disagreeable with their beliefs. And some can be far worse. And this is what I'm really going to focus on, is the worst ones, like attacks when we're unaware, that have nothing to do with who we are and what we believe, but they can happen anywhere, anytime. And if we're unaware, because of poor decision making or bad situations that we can get into, then we become vulnerable to that. And so one thing to know that is applicable in almost all bad situations is that they can be entirely avoided. So what is the definition of awareness? Awareness is the state or level of consciousness where sense data or sensory data can be confirmed by an observer, usually yourself, or the state or the state of being aware. Sense data is a sensation experienced by the sense organs, such as smell, touch, taste, sight, and hearing. So synonyms for sense data are perception, sensation, and synesthesia. Synesthesia means to feel, see things, to have those sensations. Awareness might seem like an automatic and innate thing, and it is. Well, it was. If you recall from my last video, we have all been brainwashed slowly over the decades. And now we have creature comforts, no memory of war, depravity, and severe poverty. The more comfortable we become, the less aware we are and the less concerned we are for any kind of attack. The more we watch television and mainstream media, the less aware we are of true dangers, and we become more vulnerable to an attack. The more we depend on others, such as law enforcement, security guards, or any other person, the less control we have if an attack does in fact occur. Now, because of the many lies, massive misinformation, indoctrination, and brainwashing, most people are incapable of defending themselves properly, and bad people count on this to be the case. When we are vulnerable and our vulnerabilities are easy to spot, it becomes easy for a bad person to carry out an attack on us. If we cannot humble ourselves, or if we are too afraid to admit that we are improperly aware, then we could be risking our lives, we could be risking our children's lives, and many other people's lives around us. Let's imagine a scenario. I love that I picked Creepy Joe Biden because, yikes, he's a bad guy. So pretend I'm a bad guy. I've been researching neighborhoods to carry out a plan of attack, and I've chosen your neighborhood. I've selected several houses in your neighborhood, and they look like great possible hits. One of these houses I've chosen is your house. When I was looking online at satellite images, and I was looking for particular vulnerabilities, and your house matched those that I would need to plan out my attack. And my research has already been pretty extensive, so I've learned a lot about the average family demographics, the families living in your neighborhood, the income, the number of household residents, the ages of residents, and the commonly used security systems. Now that I have my internet data, I visually look at each house that I have on the list, and I check for specific weakness areas, choosing the house that will be the easiest to attack. And guess what? Your house fits the descriptions for my plans perfectly. So I set up tiny hidden cameras outside the perimeter of your house where it's well out of eyesight and very unlikely that somebody will stumble across it. I've aimed these in your windows, doorways, hallways, rooms, anything that can be seen through the windows and the doors, so that I can monitor in real time any specific weakness areas as well as entry and escape routes should I need to escape. Your house was the most open. There weren't hardly ever any blinds or curtains ever pulled. The kids' rooms never had curtains pulled, blinds closed. Everything was always open almost all the time. And now I will spend the next 30 days watching your home and gathering information on your comings and goings, hobbies, activities, hours at work, any and all patterns you and your family carry out on a weekly basis. I believe I have been able to determine the best time and day to carry out my plans, the best method of entry, and the best escape routes should something unexpected occur. Also, during this 30 days, I went and got on your social media, and I quickly found out who your parents are and who your siblings are. And you didn't list siblings, but your siblings and your parents have tagged you in a lot of posts, and I was able to gather by names and that kind of information, that how they were related to you. Your profile lists your full name, the cities that you've lived in, your current city, your musical taste, your movie taste, your political affiliation, your religion, your career, how many kids you have and their ages, although because I've been watching your house, I know how many kids you have and I know their ages. I was able to see you've been divorced and that you're remarried and that you hate your ex and you love your new marriage. I've been able to see your closest friendships, where you went to high school, what your first dog's name was, where you grew up, and on and on and on. So I'm going to end this scenario here and get to the point that I'm trying to make. My plan of attack, no matter what it was, whether it was a violent act, burglary, kidnapping, whatever, that's not the point. The point is I'm trying to get across is that I want you to notice that you are likely far more vulnerable than you believe that you are. There is no one that knows you, the areas of your weaknesses, better than yourself. This means you have the control over your safety and security. You have the control to stop attacks or to lessen them. You have the control to protect your family from attacks. I want to emotionally provoke you into realizing that you're likely currently a sitting duck and you need to change this today. So first and foremost, Google yourself and find out what kind of information you see. Is there personal information about you on Google? Phone number, home address, anything personal. Find a way to get it off there. If you find it, remove it. As far as social media, here's some things you can do. I want to mention real quick, I put this life log thing up here because Facebook, before it was started, was called LifeLog, and it was a DARPA project from the government. It did exactly all the things that Facebook does: gathers your relationship statuses, the music that you like, the movies that you like, the romantic relationships, family relationships, friendships, where you are, what you're into, anything it can possibly do. And it was called LifeLog, and the day that LifeLog was killed was the day that Facebook started, because they knew people would not get involved with a government program, social media, I guess. So they got Zuckerberg to pretend he's some kind of guy that knows anything about code, whatever, and they implemented Facebook the day that they killed LifeLog. So I would say take down any current cities and all past cities that you've ever lived in on these social medias. Get a VPN. I can tell you what that is if you're more interested. I use Windscribe. I can send you a link. It gets me more data. So if you want it, you should use mine. But if you want to go on and find your own VPN, that's fine. What it does is it blocks where you are. Well, it says it's you're somewhere else. But since I implemented that, which thank God I actually put in a couple years ago due to some nefarious activities I was up to, but I already had this stuff, Facebook isn't following my whereabouts even from my phone. I don't know how, the VPN's not blocking Facebook from my phone, but I got Facebook off my phone, and whenever I try to see where Facebook has me, it doesn't have me anywhere anymore. It just circles confused. So that's a positive thing. I don't check in places, and I'm sorry if that's supposed to help people in any way, but I don't have it on my phone. I won't check in. Delete family relationships, past romantic relationships. Keep things private. Don't talk about things that you love and hate too much. I know it's hard. Don't ask people advice over decision-making areas of your life. Don't do that. Just make this as private as possible. Delete your music taste, your movie taste. Please try not to post pictures of your children. I recommend deleting all your social media if possible, but I know it's not. But do not connect a real phone number, email, and address if you can avoid that. I know it's hard. I have created multiple emails, and I have burner phone numbers that I will use for my social media. And when Instagram wants me to update my phone number, I refuse. Try not to use your full name. I know I have, but that's because I'm branding a name with YouTube and things like that. And so it's something I've decided to do, and it was a hard decision to make. But I recommend not doing your whole name. If really though, ultimately the best thing you could do would be to delete all your social media. Take a walk around your home, walk the perimeter inside and out, and look on internet satellite as well. Look and see what the most likely points of entry from roadways are, the most likely points of entry into the home. Think like an attacker while you do a visual observation inside and outside of your home. Just look at, if you were an attacker, where could you get in easily? Where could you get out easily? Who could you attack easily if you came in and someone was there? Where are their bedrooms? Are they close to the window? Are you close to the window in your bedroom? Are the children close to the window? Look for places that are easy to get in. If it's winter, would it be easy to cut off your heat and cause a problem for you there? If it's summer, would it be easy to cut off your air conditioning and cause you a problem there? Where are the most likely ways victims will try to escape? Now I'm thinking as an attacker, right? And so if I'm attacking people, if I'm going there and I want to attack the people in there, I want to know the easiest ways they'll try to escape so I can block that. What are the best times of day to attack? Think of as many attacker possibilities as you can. And once you've done that, then you're going to change and become the defender. You're going to be the person that's ready to defend against any and all possible forms of attack or methods. And then change what needs to be changed to the extent that you can. And have a family plan in case of an attack. Don't just do this at home either. Do this wherever you go. Be aware. Notice your surroundings. Look at people around you. Notice doorways, windows, any places of exit. an entry that maybe you didn't know because you've been there so many times and think about. You want to be ready in a moment of stress. So pay extra attention, because in an event of attack, you want your mind to be ready to comprehend, because it will go into fight or flight, and you need that prior focus so that you can recall, the times of stress, what you paid attention to before the attack happened. Some things you can do when you're practicing your plans of attack would be to think of stressful situations and try to remain calm, or to cause a stressful situation. Now, if you have noticed, I'm basing a lot of this information on a book, and I will put the link in probably a pinned comment or in the information on the description. But there's a book called Sheep No More, and it talks about a lot of this. And he mentions some ways to create stress, like by putting your hands in buckets of ice and trying to find a mind calming moment in that, because that's painful to have your hand in very freezing ice water. What you can do is become creative in your own way and come up with ideas and awesome things that you can cause stress for yourself, and you can think of ways to calm your mind down. And maybe you can go through your plan, like I will do this stress causing moment, and then I will think about the things I knew were my plan, the exits, the entries and stuff like that, and just go through it in your mind, because practice does make perfect. Just let it go through your mind, work on it in an actual painful, stressful situation. I know that sounds hard. I know that sounds totally uncomfortable, but dying in an attack is much more uncomfortable. So if you're going on a trip or a vacation, definitely consider what I'm telling you. Think about, I know on a flight you can't escape, but you could still think about things that could happen, attacks that could happen, and a plan of what to do in the case of an attack, and in different plans depending on what kind of attack could possibly happen. The more you can think like an attacker, the better you're going to do defending in any kind of attack. You're going to want to look into where you're traveling to. Is it out of the country? If it is, you're going to want to look at laws. You're going to want to look at rules. You're going to want to look where the U.S. Embassy is and how close you're going to be to it. If you're not anywhere near, you're going to need to figure out what you're going to have to do in the case of a serious attack. It could be small. It could be just an attack against you. It could be a huge attack. I'm not talking about terrorist activity. I'm talking about just somebody trying to steal your wallet. It's as simple as that. How can we avoid these things? So look at your plans and your trip. Look at where you're staying. The same thing. You can get on a satellite imagery and look at areas that could be weak in the hotel. While it might be hard to look on the outside of it physically or the inside of it physically because you've never been there, you can do those things when you get there. And if it really seems like an unsafe place to be, just leave. Like, go to a different place. It's better to try to protect your life. It's better to try to protect your family's life. If you're going to be going somewhere that's out of your comfort zone, you need to try to come up with these things as much as possible of what could happen, what to do, in case of attack. And after you're done looking at it as an attacker, become the defender and make sure you're ready with your plan of attack. When you're in public, pay attention to all people. Everyone. Look at the whole room. Look at everyone that's in there, who they're with. Are they looking suspicious? Are they just looking normal? Most of the time they're looking normal. But just be aware of who's in the room with you. I prefer to sit with my back to a wall or a corner where I can see everyone. I've always been that way. I've never been a defender-minded person where I'm planning someone to attack me and have a plan. It's just something I'm comfortable with. I want to be able to see the room. Well, that still holds true for what I'm talking about now. If anyone looks suspicious, I don't care if anyone thinks you're profiling or racist or judgmental. Just get that brainwashed crap out of your head. Be aware if it looks unusual or strange, just leave the situation or report it or both. Do not confront attackers or possible attackers, but do make eye contact. And here's what I'm going to tell you. There was a video going around, and I'm sure you've seen it. There was a guy sitting in like a bus park bench, and he was checking people, like he was going to jump at them, right? And one particular woman saw him, and she was looking at him, and when he checked her, she was a little bit too prepared for him to do it. Then he saw a guy walking by on his phone, not paying any attention, and he jumped up and he pushed the guy in the street. He ended up in critical condition, probably had to have surgery, and it could have been avoided. Now, obviously the dude's a bad dude, and we can all go, what a horrible guy. How dare he? We need to find who did that and stop this. But also, please look at the guy who was on his phone, not aware of his surroundings. Now, the first gal, he didn't look right. He didn't look right. He's sitting on a park bench. He's got a hoodie on. And then he checks her, and then she's like, whoa. So he didn't push her into the street. Who did he push into the street? The dude that's not even paying attention. Didn't even look at him. Didn't even notice him. Anyone that thinks they've been made is so far less likely to carry out an attack that they probably won't. And they might go on somewhere else to carry out the attack. But what I did is I protected myself and my family. Learn how to think quickly in times of stress. Be aware of escape areas. Be aware of having defender plans for your family in place, outside of the house, inside of the house. Pay special attention to people in your surroundings, like I just said. You will find you are in a more logical and calm state if you ever have to endure an attack, if you just practice these things and think about these things on a regular basis. Practice makes perfect. Make your family learn the plan. Act out the plans. Never assume that something will never happen to you. Do not be the person in an attack that is so confused, wasting time trying to understand what's happening, that you're the first one to be killed or injured severely. Do not count on police, security, emergency responders, or any other person to protect and defend you. Be aware, be responsible, be private, take control over your life, put the power back in your hands and never in the hands of an attacker. Remember, you have all the information. Nobody else has the information about you the way that you do. So the power to know is yours. Thank you so much, Patriots, for watching. I did mention 7K Metals and the business that I'm affiliated with. I always put a link in the description, one of the pictures on my website showing coins, which are so fun to collect, but we also sell bullion and lots of other stuff. It's a fantastic business. It's changed my life. And I want to remind you that is what brought me to the truth, was learning the truth about money was the first best thing I could have done for myself. And it could be the first best thing to red pill other people. And as always, if it wasn't for you, the viewers, I wouldn't even bother. And I know that I'm making a small but slow change, and I appreciate all of you who come here and watch. It means so much to me. And so it would mean a lot to me if you could hit the like button or comment anything you want to comment. Please subscribe if you have not already. I do have a Patreon account. I would really appreciate the support if you find this information helpful. I will put the information in the description box. But really, God bless you guys. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you take the time. Please share this if you believe that the information would be useful to anyone that you know. And Godspeed. Good night.